Good morning and hello to everyone. Could I get a thumbs up from a few of you to say you can hear me okay? Excellent, excellent. Happy Mother's Day. I think the first thing we should do is hold our mothers with us today. And I have my mom here in the picture. She passed away 20 years ago today, this month. So she's going to be here. So maybe we can all just take a moment to recall our mother, even if we don't know who our mother was, or perhaps our relationship with our mother was estranged in some way, that we can know and recognize that her lifeblood flows inside of each of us, inside of you, and is present here today. Whatever it is that she may have carried and passed on to you. So for over 4 billion years, the earth has been here, holding and feeding everything from single-celled organisms, dinosaurs, plants and flowers, and of course humans in more recent history. So as we begin our meditation, just extend our gratitude towards the earth for the life that it offers, for its holding. We can also acknowledge and embrace the many generations of Vietnamese who carried Buddhism to us, to our teacher, Thay, and also how they helped build the Sangha here in new lands, in North America and Europe. Their history and practice are present with us today. We see and hold to the Native and First Nation peoples who lived on the lands before us, who cared for it as we do, and lived their lives in community. And today we also honor our diversity, whether that be gender, religion, ethnicity, national origin, age, physical or mental abilities, sexual orientation, gender identity, or political affiliation. All this is present here today as the Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that the collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism going as a river with no more separation. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. In breath, out breath. Breathing in, I am aware of the fresh morning air, feeling grounded by the earth. I breathe out. Fresh morning air, feeling grounded. Breathing in, I connect with the animals roaming this land, big and small, on the earth, in the air. Breathing out, we recognize our shared land. Coyote, deer, and mountain lion, sharing land. Sitting here together across the continent and beyond, I breathe in, aware of the ancestral peoples who have lived on this land for millennia. I breathe out, across the continent, ancestral peoples. A new Sangha grows, connected to the past. A new Sangha grows, protecting the future. Connecting to the past, protecting the future. Sangha well-being nourishes my well-being. My well-being nourishes Sangha well-being. Nourishing Sangha, nourishing self. Watering seeds of joy and understanding. Watering seeds of inclusiveness. I breathe out. Joy and understanding, inclusiveness. So good to be together and practice, sharing our meditation and our Sunday morning together. Today is May 13th, 2018. It's Mother's Day in North America, at least in the United States. I'm not certain if Canada has Mother's Day on the same day or not. But here in the US, it's Mother's Day. And it's nice to remember our roots, where we come from. Whether that's our blood ancestors or spiritual ancestors, our land ancestors. They each contribute to who we are. And if we're able to stop and take a few minutes to reflect and look into those elements that are present in us, that can be quite a joyful experience. And even if we have flaws like I do, some of those flaws come from my ancestors. So I'm doing my best to to bring it in a different direction. I want to thank the Sangha for inviting me to be a part of the Earth Holder Sangha monthly gathering this month. It's been a long time since I've been able to participate on this. It's been over a year, I think, since the last time I joined a call. And I have been serving on the caretaking council for the Earth Holders for a couple of years now, since its founding. And so I tend to put my energy there when I come online. Today I thought that there's a couple teachings, one from the Buddha and one from Thay, that I think are really important for us as practitioners, but also as activists and people who care deeply about the world in which we live. The first one is the one that Thay shares of living in Vietnam during the 60s and the School for Youth of Social Service and the work that they did. For those who know me, I work a lot. I probably work 60, 65 hours a week in my job. And then I have my Sangha job, which is not really a job. Well, none of it's really a job. It's all pretty much a joy to do. But the teaching that Thay offers us is around the day of mindfulness, the practice of taking a day. And that we can have a lot of energy and we can do a lot of things and we can contribute to the work that we each find to be important, whether that's volunteering or working in a position in a job in a company or an organization. And I look at Thay and I see all the years of service that he did, and his energy was always, traveling and doing all that type of effort and writing letters and speaking, and yet he always reminded us to take this day of mindfulness, to take a day of rest. And it's through that practice that we're able to often find the energy to take care of all the other things that are important to us. And so if we can find a way to incorporate that into our lives, I think it can be really beneficial. It has been for me. I'm really good at resting. I'm really good at being lazy. On the weekend, I'm on the couch resting and taking care of my body and trying to let go of the energy of the week, the things that are occurring around me, and do something with my family, practice with the Sangha, those types of things. So the reason I chose this topic around, I called the topic antique rocking chair, which we'll get to in a minute, but this idea of taking care of ourselves so that we don't move in that direction of despair. Because when we get to that place of absolute frustration and disappointment and discouragement and despair, it's really difficult to take action, to be able to have an impact on what's important. And so we always begin with taking care of this so that we can take care of that. And to be able to see the beauty around us is also really important. The other teaching I think that's really important for us to be aware of is from the Buddha. It's part of the Noble Eightfold Path, and that's the practice of right diligence. And you may know that the right diligence has there's 4 parts to that, and the first one is to try not to give the negative seeds. Those are things in us that cause us to suffer. The anger, fear, despair, those types of things. We try not to have them come up in the first place. So the way we can do that is by creating conditions around us to minimize the opportunity for those negative seeds. So for each of us, it's going to be an individual path. What that's going to look like in our lives, but it might be something like setting a routine of practice, daily practice, whether that's a sitting practice or walking, whatever it is that nourishes the practice in you, to try to make an effort to do it each day. And for some of us, it's the morning. Some maybe it's in the evening. I know for me, the evening is not so good for me to practice sitting meditation because, well, my experience has been it's just not the best time for me. So the best time for me is the morning. So I have a morning practice. So each morning I rise and I do something good for my body. Take a walk, a run or a swim, and move my physical self and take care of it. And then I sit on the cushion and take the time to come back to my breath, my in-breath, my out-breath. Before my mind has a chance to get too busy. I have to get up really early because if I sleep too late, my mind is busy already. So if I get up really early, my mind is less busy. So I do it early. And then I do other things, like make a cup of coffee and have breakfast and those types of things. Before I do anything, before I even pick up the device, okay? So we leave this down while we take care of ourselves, right? So creating these conditions around us, and there might be other opportunities too, maybe how we eat in the daytime or how we move about our business, whether it's in a workplace or the home or in public. Just trying to have these reminders to be present with our practice. So this is an effort of right diligence to help us to minimize those opportunities for those negative seeds to arise, because they're always there in us. That anger, boom, it's down there. I could be driving to work. I could have done all those things that I did, and still it could arise in a moment, in an instant. But our practice is to be aware of that and to know it's there. So the second part of our practice on right diligence is that when those negative seeds do arise, when that anger comes up, when that fear, when that frustration, we try to do our best to return it to our store consciousness down below as quickly as possible. And part of the reason we have that morning practice for me is that when those things come up later in the day, I've cultivated this training in myself that you can train in yourself, so that it's easier to become aware of those negative seeds when they do arise. And when they do, simply that awareness is mindfulness, and that's a positive seed. And that mindfulness seed is what's going to help to soften or weaken that negative seed in ourselves. And when we're able to practice with this, it gives us the strength, it gives us the wisdom to do the work that's important. around us. So this is an art of being aware of the mental formation, the negative seed, when it comes up, and to be able to transform it, to be able to change it, to be able to replace it with something else like mindfulness. The third practice of right diligence has to do with giving those good seeds plenty of chances to come up. This is what we call, what Thay has called the art of flower watering. So we can water our own flowers. We can water the flowers of those around us. I live with someone. I live with children also. I have 2 teenagers, and how I choose to communicate in the household will determine the dynamic in the house. So if I'm able to be kind and respectful, and as well as recognize the beauty in my children and in my wife, and to be able to say those things, it nourishes those positive seeds in them, which in turn nourishes positive seeds in me. So we have this interbeing relationship occurring right away. And so being able to recognize that, maybe our partner or our children or our parents, if they live with us, sometimes they're not doing so well. So being able to see that and to be able to take that and offer some practice and some support is part of what we can do as practitioners. So a good practitioner will know how to do this. And the last part of this right diligence practice has to do with once we have a positive seed in us, whether that's joy, happiness, presence, wisdom, so forth, that we try to keep it here, and we try to keep it here and let it grow, and we allow it to stay as long as possible. That mindfulness, keep it here in our lives. So having this place where we can cultivate this, a lot of this has to do with how we create our environment, how we live. So I shared a little bit about my practice that I have in the morning. Another part of that is reading something that's of inspiration or beauty. Could be words of Thay. So I've been in the community a long time, and so I've read a lot of Thay's books, and I love Thay's books, and I continue to read them regularly. But this year, I started the year with an aspiration. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and read something that makes me uncomfortable and that I've never read before. And maybe uncomfortable isn't the right word, but it's not something that I pick up, and that's poetry. And so I went to the bookstore and I said, okay, I'm going to read Wendell Berry because he is amazing, is what I've heard. I've heard quotes from him many times over the years. And as a good environmentalist, a good earth holder that he is, I wanted to touch those seeds of the earth in me, and also the poetry in me. So I picked up a book called, I think it's, they're Sabbath poems or something like that. I can't remember the exact title, but they're poems that he wrote on the, I think on the Sabbath, because they were all, it was something along those lines. And so I picked up that book and I read maybe 2 or 3 poems a day. And then maybe 4 months in, I still hadn't finished the book because 2 or 3 poems a day isn't that much. But each morning I read 2 or 3 poems. And through this reading, I discovered that I had been watering deep looking, and had been watering awareness of what's around me. And one morning I'm sitting there in my antique rocking chair, hence the title of our theme today. And a poem came out, and I was shocked. in myself for having this poem appear, because I'm not a poet. And I felt like, wow, that's really interesting, because here I see a full, what do you call it? A full direct response to this reading practice just appear in my life. And it was having to do with this chair that I sit in each morning, a rocking chair that my partner found and restored and gave to me for Christmas maybe a decade ago. And so maybe I'll conclude with my short poem. I'm not a poet, so you'll just have to live with what it is that I wrote, and be happy or not happy. It's okay. I won't take it personally in any way, but I will share it with you nonetheless. So maybe we'll do a sound of the bell first. So, an antique rocking chair. Trees and forests, oh, the many days and nights of cold, of rain, of sunshine. The birds and squirrels, hands and vehicles, sawmill and finisher, restored with love to hold me each morning with coffee and reflection, an antique rocking chair in the morning darkness. So I hope through our practice of watering these positive seeds through right diligence, that from those places we can touch beauty, we can touch happiness, we can also take compassionate and impactful action in the world, because I think people truly can receive direction and through our compassionate words, our direct action, when we bring it from a place of love. So I'll stop there, and I think I'm going to turn it over to Nomi to help guide the Sangha sharing, if that's possible. And thank you very much.